Welcome back to the channel, guys. On today's episode of GolfBusters, we're going to be reviewing the top 5 launch monitors under $5,000 if price didn't matter. On last week's episode, I met with Mitch from Handicap Golf, and we went over the top 5 launch monitors under $5,000, considering price and a bunch of different factors. So today, I'm just going top 5, what is the best unit, price doesn't matter. So we're gonna start with number 5. I'm going with the Rapsodo MLM. On our previous list, we both had the Garmin R10. The reason we had that above the Rapsodo was because it's cheaper and there were no subscription fees. Now with the Rapsodo, it is around $700, and then you have $200 a year in subscription fees. And for us, we felt like that is what set it back in the other ranking. But in this ranking, we have found it to be a more accurate device than the Garmin R10. Now, coming in at number 4, this may be a shocker to you because it is actually the most expensive device on this list, and that is the Uneekor Eye Mini. I have heard of people having great experiences with Uneekor, but I personally, when I reviewed the device, I was not super impressed. Everything, I would say, from wedges to 3-wood was very good for me. I thought it was very accurate, very impressed. I like the base video feature, but then I got to the driver and I had huge issues with the driver. So the reason it's number 4 is I can't rank it above number 4 personally for me when I found it to be less accurate than the units in the top 3. Now it is a new unit and I do think Uneekor is going to get it figured out, but I wouldn't feel good telling you guys it is the top unit when I personally had a bad experience. Now, the good news is, I think the issue with the driver and me getting carry yardages way wrong was due to my swing a little bit. I have around 160 ball speed, I have a very low launch angle, and I had a lot of issues with spin rates with that type of swing. But I have a buddy who was a D1 golfer. He has optimal launch angle, basically optimal everything, and he has got great readings with driver. Coming in at number 3, or I should say tie for number 2, because we have a tie between the FlightScope Mevo Plus and the SkyTrak Plus. Now let me explain. These are 2 great devices. From what I tested, I am very impressed with both of these units. SkyTrak's a little more expensive, Mevo Plus is a little cheaper, but again, we're not considering price. So why are these units at a tie? So let's start with the SkyTrak Plus. I have been incredibly impressed with the SkyTrak Plus. The shot shape, I think, is spot on. I had a little bit of issues with driver early on, but I switched to the TaylorMade TP5 Pix balls with the logos all over, and since then, I have got great readings with the SkyTrak. Now, the only knock I have on it, compared to my TrackMan readings, I would say 1 in every 10 shots, it seems like the carry yardage is slightly off. Now, this is not a stressor. When I say it's slightly off, I think 95% of golfers would not be able to tell. It's usually like, I thought it went 150, it went 155. It's just a little bit off. It's still very accurate device, but I find the carry, 1 in every 10, you might have a shot that you kind of question a little bit, but not really any that you're like, whoa, that's way, way off. Now, the FlightScope Mevo Plus. Since they have got the Titleist RCT ball update, and let me make sure you know, you need to use this with the Titleist RCT balls. If you don't, it's a completely different device. But with the Titleist RCT balls and making sure you select the Titleist RCT ball option, this device for me is spot on in the carry. And I would say my carry yardages are more accurate than the SkyTrak Plus. I trust this thing so much with carry yardages since the RCT ball update, and it feels like every single shot is essentially spot on carry yardage. Now, you're probably wondering, well, if the carry yardages are more accurate than the SkyTrak yardages compared to TrackMan, why would this be a tie? Now, that has to do with precise accuracy with driver shot shape. Now, let me explain that. By shot shape, I mean offline, left or right. How far left or right is the ball going? I found on wedges all the way up to 3-wood, extremely accurate with the Mevo Plus. If it's going 5 yards left on the TrackMan, it's essentially 5 yards left on the Mevo Plus. It's going 5 yards right, essentially 5 yards right. Once you get to driver, it still gives you that correct shot shape, but it may not quite be as spot on left and right. Now again, it's still very close. It could be an instance where you hit the drive, it goes 15 yards left, Mevo Plus reads it as 10 yards left, but that carry yardage is spot on. So that's the reason I have these two as a tie. Carry yardages I find to be more spot on with the Mevo Plus. Shot shape with the driver I find to be slightly more spot on with the SkyTrak Plus. But at the end of the day, these are two great devices, and I would think 90 to 95% of golfers would not be able to tell those differences. So for me, what it comes down to with these two devices is really your environment. If you are someone who's limited on depth in your room, you're probably gonna go with the SkyTrak Plus. If you're someone who has enough depth in your room and needs lefties and righties, you're probably gonna go with the Mevo Plus. But either way, you cannot go wrong with both of these units. I think anyone who buys these units and takes the time to set them up correctly will be extremely happy with their purchase. Now, before we get into our #1 ranked unit, we're gonna give an honorable mention to the Garmin R10 and the Phigolf 2 and the Phigolf World Tour Edition. Reason number one, we're giving this little device an honorable mention. This device allows literally anyone to be able to have a golf simulator. Let's say you don't have room for a golf simulator, boom, you can use the swing stick and the golf simulator sensor to use it literally anywhere. Or let's say you have the room to swing a club, but not the money for a full golf simulator. Then you attach the swing sensor into your actual golf club, and you can play in a full golf simulator experience. And finally, one of the coolest things with the Phigolf 2 is if you have a hitting net or enclosure, you can put the sensor into your clubs and actually be hitting balls all for around $200. This device gives you club head speed, tempo, club path, and more. It works with WGT and E6 Connect. You can play with other people online, and it comes preset with a bunch of different golf courses. And you can also play speed golf. Now, obviously this device is not going to be as accurate as launch monitors that cost thousands of dollars, but for around $200 to $300, it's pretty awesome. So if you're interested in the Phigolf 2 or the Phigolf World Tour Edition, they're available right now with a 30% discount on Phigolf US Amazon stores from the 17th of November to the 30th of November during their Black Friday sale. Now, finally, let us get into our #1 ranked unit under $5,000. We're coming in with the Bushnell Launch Pro. Now, the reason this wasn't our #1 unit on our top 5 list considering price is because the subscription fees are so high. If you want to be able to play courses with the Bushnell Launch Pro, you're paying a minimum of $500 a year. The reason I say a minimum is because most people will also add on like E6 Connect or GS Pro for another $250, so you're looking at $750 a year for the Bushnell Launch Pro. If you get just ball data, $2,000. And then if you want club data, you're looking at around $3,500 plus the $500 to $750 a year in subscription fees. But the reason this is our #1 ranked launch monitor is because this has premier accuracy. This device is the exact same device as the Foresight GC3. I believe Bushnell bought Foresight, and so they made the Bushnell Launch Pro, and it's the same thing with a subscription fee. The Foresight GC3 is a $7,000 to $8,000 device. So what you're getting is this $8,000 launch monitor packaged at a cheaper price with subscription fees, and this thing is amazing. If you've ever looked at the industry standard, the Foresight GC Quad, this thing is the little brother and essentially so close in accuracy to the GC Quad that you only upgrade to the GC Quad if you have an insane amount of money to blow. So that wraps up our top 5. If you're building a golf simulator and have any questions, we would love to help you out. Our email is golfbustersofficial@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about the video. Leave any comments. Do you agree with our rating? Would love to hear what you think.